Aloha, everybody, and welcome to The Joystick Show, a podcast where three friends from high school in Hawaii get together to chat about comics, video games, and pop culture. I'm Thomas, and we have a very special guest on the show. We have Rick Ives. He is a writer, director, executive producer for his own movie, which we'll get into, but he has also worked at Marvel as an editor and assistant editor, I believe. And Rick, thanks for joining. How are you doing?
Aloha. Hey, I meant to ask you, what island were you guys from?
Right on. Yeah, we are all from Oahu. We all grew up in
okay.
this little town called Mililani.
Mililani. All right.
Yeah. Have you ever been there?
Not
Mililani, but Oahu.
The first movie I ever worked on professionally was Journey to Mysterious Island. We shot on Oahu. So have you seen that one?
I have not, but it's on the movie list.
It's like a kid's movie. You know, it's cute. It's a family thing. But it's got The Rock and Vanessa Hudgens and Michael Caine.
Oh, there you go.
And we spent we spent like 4 months on Oahu, like going everywhere in that island. It was super cool. I liked it there a lot.
That is fantastic. I definitely got to see that movie. What did you think about Oahu?
Love Oahu. So I was there one day in Waimea Canyon when it was going off.
Okay.
And I surf in California when I was in college and stuff. Not so much anymore. I live in Georgia now. There's not a lot of waves.
Yeah. Not a lot of surf in Georgia.
I was there to see Waimea going off one time, and it was unlike anything I had seen. You know, I've seen videos. You see videos of that stuff, and you see movies.
Oh, yeah.
But when you see in person mountains in the water and people riding on it and feeling the crash, it's like an earthquake.
Yeah.
Holy cow. It's something else. It's crazy.
Yep, it's ridiculous. They actually just did the Eddie I Cow that you were talking about that takes place in Waimea. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, even growing up there, like I surfed growing up, like here and there, but man, there's no way in hell you would catch me in the water on those waves.
Never. But it's still just like you're in awe just to stand on the beach and look at it. Holy cow, it's amazing.
It like almost doesn't make sense. I know. Yeah, it's incredible.
But yeah, we did all the touristy stuff when we were there, and I was there for wintertime, so that was cool. Do like Christmas out in Hawaii, and love to go back, man.
There you go. Get away from the white Christmas of it all, or I guess traded it for white sand and everything. So I want to start kind of at the beginning a little bit. Like, was there a specific moment, or when did you figure out that film was the direction you wanted to go in?
Oh man, I don't know. It was so early. I grew up watching so many movies. My parents were really into that kind of stuff. I'm old enough that I remember Blockbuster and Hollywood Video.
Oh yeah, Blockbuster on Friday night was like the jam, man.
Once DVDs came out, they had all these special features. I was the dude who watched every special feature on every DVD. They made those for me, you know.
Yeah.
And we would rent 2 or 3 movies on a weekend, and the next morning I would wake up and watch every behind-the-scenes featurette. I go through all the still photos. I go through all the production notes. I was just like totally swept away by how did they do this? It's so cool to me.
Exactly.
When I was in high school, I realized you could go to college to do this. That kind of blew my mind, and I said, that's it. I mean, no question. That's what I got to do.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. What movie or show stuck out to you where you're like, holy crap, that's what I want to do?
It was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
All right, classic.
I mean, that's one I had on repeat.
Yeah.
And when I was old enough to like really appreciate it, man, that's the one that did it. Like, it's fun. There's an adventure. It's kind of scary, but it's also kind of safe. And it's funny, and oh man, I just love every second of that.
It just has it all. So, yeah, it's a perfect movie.
To this day, I mean, I like all movies, all genres, but I do come back to adventure. We don't have too much of that anymore.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. It seems like it kind of falls in the superhero genre a lot these days.
The superhero genre is kind of taken over all genres. Like, it is the comedy and it is the adventure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of people love it and hate it, but I'm one of those people that falls on the side of loving it because these are characters I was so stoked on when I was growing up, and you know, thinking that the Avengers could have their own movie when I was a kid seemed impossible.
Yeah,
and here we are.
I know, it's crazy. For me, it was Star Wars, and For all the people who complain about, listen up, people out there in podcast land complaining about how bad the Star Wars movies are. I
Yeah.
grew up at a time when there was no more Star Wars. All right, it was over. We had 3 movies
Right.
and a Christmas special that might exist, but nobody's seen it before.
Yeah, exactly. You almost have to be careful who you tell you watch the Christmas special too.
Yeah,
You're not. Hey,
and
do you watch that thing? Yeah, I watch it. Yeah, it was pretty cool, right?
just the fact that it's still here is a dream come true for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you watch Andor?
Oh, loved Andor.
How
Loved it.
good was that? It's so good. Oh
So
my
I was a little
God.
cold on that one for the first 2. I was like, it's kinda
Yeah,
slow.
right.
And then by episode 3, boom, takes off, and I was hooked. And
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe you guys talked about this, but they kind of did that series in chunks, like 3
Mm-hmm.
episodes, 3 episodes, 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And I do not like to wait. In fact, I'm not watching Last of Us right now for the same reason. I don't want to wait in
Oh,
between
you're
episodes.
just like a binger then. You gotta get it all one time.
So for Andor, I was like, as soon as 3 weeks pass, okay, I'm watching these 3.
Nice. There you go. Hey, that's a smart way to do it. If we didn't have to cover it for this show and some other shows, that's like, had I known better or been able to do that in the past, that's the way I would have done it.
Because I can bear at least a break, if it came to some kind of conclusion. But if
Right.
it's just a cliffhanger every time, I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah. At least,
I'm-
like, if you got to those 3 episode chunks, that third episode, there's a little bit of completion where you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
I feel good about that. I can now
Right.
wait for
Right.
it. Yeah. So good, though.
But for Last of Us, I know you guys talk about that one a lot. I haven't watched any, so don't spoil it for me. Although I was a
Nope.
big fan of the game.
Don't worry,
Uh,
don't worry. And plus, when you listen to your episode back, it'll just be about you. So
Oh,
no
sweet.
spoiler alert will be on the title of that episode. But yeah, absolutely. So I want to touch on this, Matt. You had, I was looking through your IMDb and your work, and you've done something really special of your own that I definitely want to touch on later.
Nice,
But you've
thank
worked
you.
on some amazing titles, as an editor. Is there any projects through Marvel or anything that you've worked on in your life, really, that you're particularly proud of, excluding your own personal work?
Oh man, good question. Okay, so let me clarify. I was only an assistant editor on a lot of those.
Yeah.
The only stuff I've actually
Still
had an
important.
editor credit on are the indie movies that are on that list, which
Okay.
you've probably never seen except for maybe the one I just did. But it's funny, they all have their own like special place in your heart, you know?
Yeah.
Independence Day 2, not a great movie. I'll be honest with you, not a great movie. But I'm in that movie, so it's special because I got like couple seconds on screen by myself, and I got to see all those actors like real close in person.
Did you have
Hugo?
this moment like, holy crap, I'm on set with, I think it was like Liam Hemsworth was like one
that's
of the
right.
main actors.
and Goldblum
Yeah.
and Bill Pullman and all the original cast except for Will
Mhm.
Smith. But
Right.
yeah, I got thrown into that. I was working on set for that movie, and I found out like 4 days before I was going to it, and all of a sudden I was in Albuquerque, in the desert, in a studio at 4 in the afternoon, like standing next to Jeff Goldblum. Like,
Wow.
what am I doing here? This is so crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
The first credit I ever had that came out in theaters was Hugo, and that's a Martin Scorsese Best Picture movie.
Yeah.
And I was like straight out of college. I got my name on this. I was like, dude, this was easy.
Yeah. You're like, I'm killing it.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. I really lucked into that one, but
Yeah.
so that one's kind of special because that's cool. Scorsese movie.
Yeah,
I
you-
love
you
all
had
the Marvel
that s-
stuff. Probably my favorite is the Infinity War and Endgame movies because that was a year. They shot those back to back, and I worked
Right.
a lot of time on those, and I kept a lot of secrets for a
Mhm.
long time
Oh
about those
my-
movies.
I don't know how you could do it. I
And
always
when
think
they
about
finally came out, it's so exciting to share with people, And
Yeah, I
obviously, those
bet.
movies are enormous, so it's fun to say that you're a part of those, and have the coat in my closet that has Avengers: Infinity War on it, and beanies and stuff, say crew, and so that's cool.
What?
Yeah.
Okay,
totally.
I'm already infinitely jealous because those are like my absolutely all-time favorite movies. The first Avengers like blew my mind, and
The original one. Back
yeah,
in,
the original one,
08
right?
or
And then
something, right?
from there, yeah, from 08, where the team assembles for the first time, and I was
Was it
like, this is-
08?
I
Was it 08?
think so.
Or was it
I don't
after
know.
that?
I don't
Okay.
have IMDb.
Whatever the first
pulled up
Avengers was. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that whenever it was. But man, okay, so you were already in that world. How do you get pulled into the Marvel or like the MCU to do work?
2012, I think, was Avengers. I think Iron Man was 08.
That's right. Yeah, you are right.
So I took
All of a sudden, I suddenly remember, like I came up with it.
I was doing dailies. That was straight out of college. I was doing dailies for, actually, it was James Cameron's 3D company. I started there the day Avatar came out. And if you remember the 3D craze, everything was being shot in 3D because they all
Yeah.
wanted people back in the theater to see their movie instead of pirating it. It was also like right at the beginning of streaming era. So pirating was a big deal because it wasn't as easy to, spend $1 and watch something as it is today. But
Right.
so I was doing 3D dailies for a bunch of movies, and eventually I got called to do dailies out in Georgia. They were looking for somebody at Pinewood Studios,
Yeah.
and told my wife, "Hey, I just got this offer. Do you think we could move to Georgia?"
Wait, where were you guys at the time?
We were living in LA. That's where I went to
Oh.
school. That's where I'd spent
Gotcha.
the first, long bit of my career.
Where was
Um,
it? UCLA, USC, Chapman?
Oh, no. I went to a school called Brooks Institute. Doesn't exist
Brooks
anymore. It was one of those
Oh, okay.
for-profit schools that
Oh,
went
got it.
bankrupt.
Hey,
And now
hey,
everyone's
whatever
fighting to
you
get their
did.
money back.
Yeah, but it got you to where you are, so it worked out in some
Yeah,
way for
worked
sure.
out for me.
Yeah, it worked out for
So
you.
we took this job out in Atlanta. That was to do dailies for Infinity War and Endgame.
Okay,
and-
I'm gonna ask like this is for the audience, but it's
Yeah, go
definitely
for
for
it.
me. What is a daily?
Oh, sorry.
Alright.
So dailies are the post-production process that happens right after they shoot it. So in olden times,
Mhm.
like before the year 2000, everything was shot on film, right?
Oh yeah.
And you would still have to develop that film at night, and then the director, producers would all watch it during the day, next day.
Wow.
It's all digital now, but it still happens that way. So it's
Mhm.
not your iPhone that they're shooting on, right? It's like
Yeah.
cinema quality cameras.
Exactly. Some type of Red Dragon camera
Or
something
Alexa,
like that.
yeah, something
yeah.
wild expensive, and it takes a lot of work to get it into the Avid or the Premiere or whatever you're editing on. So that's what Daly's lab does overnight, and that's what I was doing. And so I just got to sit there every night and like look at what they shot during the day, which a lot of people don't even get to do. Not even hair makeup people or
Yeah.
actors or assistants get to watch the footage. They're just
Right.
there while they're shooting it. So I did that for Pinewood for a while, a couple other movies. Eventually, Pinewood Worldwide, that's kind of a big brand. Pinewood's from the UK.
Mhm.
Decided not to do dailies anymore at all, and we were in the crossfire of that. So I got laid off,
Oh.
and I started emailing all the people I'd worked with at Marvel and said, "Hey, I want to be an editorial anyways. Keep me in mind if you have a position open." And it took a little
Yeah.
while, but eventually all the Disney Plus TV shows were starting at that time, and they needed more help than they were used to. So I got in on a 5-week job. They were like, "We're
Wow.
going to bring you in for 5 weeks." And then it
You're
just
like,
turned
dang,
into
I hope this turns into 5 years.
just hold on tight. And
Yeah.
pandemic happened, and they started, had to change,
Yeah,
pivot
and
a
then
little bit
Disney
on how they were
Plus
doing things.
Shot up 500%, and you're like, yes.
And just hold on to that job. And thankfully, they shoot so much in Georgia that I just kind of roll on to the next ones all the time. But so I don't know.
Nice.
You looked at my list, but real quick for everyone else, it was what? Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki, Miss
Yep,
Marvel,
Loki, Miss Marvel, I
some
saw.
Hawkeye in there.
Yeah.
And then I think that's all I've worked on that's been released. So I'm gonna stop there.
Yeah.
You wanna-
Before you say something that you have an NDA for that gets you into trouble, we might want to pause it.
You can look
But I
up
mean,
my IMDb and you'll see what I'm working on.
Exactly.
That I'm done with, but hasn't been out yet. And then I'm ongoing.
I mean, shoot, you got
whatever's
the Mandalorian on here too. You got Infinity War, like said, 47 Ronin. That was a badass
Oh, yeah.
movie.
Okay, you
That-
liked that one. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I did.
That
Absolutely.
movie was a problem movie, but
Really?
eh.
Can you
Did
tell
a-
us?
did
Can
a-
you tell me why it was a problem, or do you
I
want to
mean,
keep
you
it
can
under
just
wraps?
look. You can just look that up online. They went into massive reshoots, and they were so over budget, and they shot that whole movie to be in Japanese, I believe. And then
Right.
afterwards, they decided this cannot be in Japanese. It's an American movie. It needs to be in English. So they
we
had to
need
go
some
back.
English in here. Yeah.
Yeah, and man, And I don't know if that director's made anything since then. You have to check it out and see.
Yeah,
But
that
at the
it
time, that
seems
was
like
one of
a
the biggest movie bombs that had ever been released. So
That's funny. I'm probably a little biased because there's so many Japanese people in Hawaii. I'm one of them. I grew up like studying Japanese, so I probably was a little bit okay. I was like,
dude,
yeah, give me all the
the
Japanese you
47
got. I love it.
Ronin story is cool. Like it's
Yeah.
worthy of a big movie.
Yeah.
That one just was kind of a train wreck of a production, is all. But I'm glad you
Gotcha.
liked it, though. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely. So other things that you worked on too. I mean, anything in the how does it work? Like, is it all pretty much the same when you're working on these Marvel titles?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
come in, yeah. You kind of got your same
It's not even the
routine.
same across Marvel. It's like the same across any movie. You know,
Nice.
the post production world is like interchangeable. It doesn't really matter what the content is. You're doing the same thing.
Gotcha.
It makes
Right
it more
on.
fun when you care about what you're working on, definitely. But
Yeah.
it's kind of the same job.
Gotcha. What's the day in the life like? Is it just you're watching the footage and then you're trying to figure out where to cut it? Like what
So
would
that's what the editor does, and one
Mhm.
day, hopefully, I'm there. That's what I do on the smaller stuff that I do in my part time.
Hey, you've already done it to some degree. Now you just need the title and them to say, "Yeah, you're you're the
Right,
guy
right.
here." Yeah.
So that is what the editor does. That's like the artistic position of post production, and they're really putting a big puzzle together of thousands of pieces, and they don't necessarily know what the picture's supposed to look like. They're just making it as good as they can. And then the
Yeah.
assistants are all support team. So if someone needs a sound effect, or someone needs um, stock footage,
Mhm.
or I mean, for example, on the two Avengers movies, we shot like 800 hours of footage, and you
Holy.
have to really have all of that dialed in so you know exactly where to find anything, and it's all named a particular way, and it's living in a certain
Mhm.
place on giant servers, and a lot of your job is just keeping that organized so you can find all that. And that's what I
That
do day to day is we just go through every shot that comes through. This is the same for every editor.
Jeez.
It's
I
just
mean, I can barely keep together podcast clips. I can't imagine doing it for a
well,
movie
it's not
that
just me.
size.
I mean, you have a whole team of doing it, but yeah, you
Yeah.
just go through, make sure every shot's there. You're not missing anything. You got
Definitely.
make sure it's all marked so the editor can find a place on the timeline of what they're looking for very easily, and that kind of stuff.
Right on. I mean, yeah, that's incredible. It sounds very meticulous, very detail oriented, like truly, and that can't be completely easy. So I'm like conflicted here. I kind of want to ask you a superhero question, or I kind of want to dive into your personal experience. I'm
One
gonna
more
start.
superhero question. Give
All
it.
right, let's do it. All right, So, who is your favorite superhero,
Ooh.
and what superpower would you want if you could have any?
Oh, superpower that I would want. I already have a superpower, and that is I can slip my shoes on when they're tied. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's
It's
perfect.
pretty great. I never
Yeah,
have to tie my
hey,
shoes.
exactly. If your shoes are ever off and you need to get out the door fast, dude, your superpower is coming in handy.
That's right. Let's see. When I was growing up, I was a big fan of the Batman animated series. You remember that one?
Yes,
So I watched
absolutely. Kevin Conroy,
yeah,
absolutely.
and Hamill.
Yep.
Uh, so I always said that my favorite was Batman because he's just so cool. Especially I was just the right age for the animated series, and then I was just the right age
Mhm.
for the Nolan Batman movies when they
Yep.
came out.
Yeah.
So I loved Batman. As far as MCU goes, my favorite has always been Captain America. I just love the like Boy Scout nature. Like he's so good.
Yes, dude.
Like
Yes.
no matter what.
We're on the same
And
page, man, on
okay.
both of them. I'm like
I just love
stoked
that he's
here.
so moral and he's so hopeful, and even when he's broken, he's still hopeful. Oh, that's why one of my favorite scene in Endgame is when he's just standing there alone and he's like, you know what? Ooh, tighten the shield.
Yep.
This is how it ends.
Yeah.
He
I'm
never
gonna
quits.
die here.
Yeah.
Yes, dude, I can't agree with you enough. That by far he's my favorite character because he brings hope in like a hopeless place, right?
Yeah,
And
totally.
if DC could do it with Superman, I believe in James Gunn. If he
That's
could
the
do it with
thing. Yeah,
Superman,
that's the thing. Is
bam,
Superman is that,
right?
but man, they just have such a hard time trying to
They
figure out.
they do. Yep.
Superman's tough anyways. I think he's more of a product of his time than they did with Captain America these days.
Mm-hmm.
Because they haven't. I don't know if they really nailed getting Superman into the modern era. You know?
Yeah. I think that's the constant conversation I hear in the comic book world. Certain comic book creators are like, they just don't know how to spin it. And some
Hmm.
other people are like, well, the ideals of that character are old fashioned.
Right, right.
So, yeah, it's
Oh,
interesting.
okay. So
But
I'm not the only one who thinks this. That's good to hear that I'm not crazy.
no,
It's yeah,
you're
it's
not
tough. How do you
crazy.
make
Just people don't
somebody
agree
who's
with you.
how do you make someone who's so good
Interesting.
and yeah, interesting and who can defeat anything, still interesting.
Right,
That's
because
tough.
for sure, and that's the thing. I kind of wish co-host Drake was on here because he loves like god tier characters, and
Uh-huh.
I always say I need a character with weakness.
Right.
So I want somebody who's gonna have to struggle through things like Captain America. It has just enough power, but he's
Right.
still like he's just a better human. He's just a little stronger, a little
Right.
faster.
Right. Right.
But at his core, he can still bleed. He can still, be torn down. It's just he chooses to be more hopeful through it.
Right.
Superman is tough because he's practically invincible
Right.
unless you have a magic rock bullet.
The stakes are low. The
Yeah.
funny thing is, I noticed this probably later into my childhood, but all the Superman movies end with him using a power you didn't know he had.
Yeah. Yeah.
you
That's a good
know,
way to put it.
it's
Yeah.
always like, oh no, how's he gonna do this? Oh, hold on a second, I didn't know he could turn time backwards
Backward.
by flying.
Yeah. He's
Or,
so strong he can
okay,
pull
I
the
knew
earth
he
out
was
of
strong,
rotation.
but I didn't know he was that strong. Like he could pick up
Yeah.
a whole island.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on.
Exactly.
If I
Yeah.
had known that, this wouldn't have been.
Yeah, he's like Goku before like anime was so big. Like he was constantly just leveling up when he
Yeah,
needed to
yeah.
and then leveling back down just to see more I don't know, relatable, I guess.
So I just
Totally.
don't know if you could do that anymore. Audiences won't be fooled by that. So you have to. I mean, it just has to be like a moral challenge for him, I guess. Like
Yeah.
choosing between two good things. So
Mhm.
I mean, fingers crossed, man. I love those characters, and I hope to see them do well in the next 5 years.
Absolutely. Yeah. I believe in James Gunn. I think he can get it done. And also I hope that you get to work on those as well.
I
So then
would
you got the
love that.
Marvel and DC on
Oh
your
man, that
resume.
would be amazing. I never even considered that, but yeah, you're right. Okay.
So
Oh,
let
oh man, I never said what my actual superpower would be.
Do you
I
do
don't
you,
know.
yeah, do you have it? I mean, I like the shoe
Uh,
slipping on one. I mean, one of our friends, shout out to John, he's like, dude, what if you had the power to you could fly, or I guess you could hover, but only backwards. I was like, that would
ooh.
be lame, but you could still do it. Nobody else could do that, so
Um,
could
I
be weird.
always, I'm always split between. Would it be cooler to be able to turn invisible? That's kind of creepy, sneaky.
Yeah. You sound like that guy for the boys a little bit,
or
or
or stop time because I feel like I never have enough time to do the
stop,
stuff that I want to do. And if I could
dude.
just freeze it and like get through a book or write a whole screenplay and then come back and no time had passed. Oh
Man,
man,
we are cut from the same cloth. You said Captain America tonight. You said Batman the animated series, and you said Stop Time. Which those are all three
are
probably
you
would be
me?
my answers. Yeah,
We're
exactly.
like the Spider-Man meme right now, pointing
Yeah,
at each
yeah,
other.
exactly. Hey, yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. I just want to be. I want to be Garfield because I want to be, the guy that nobody appreciated, but then came back in a big bad way.
Yeah. Okay.
But hey, man, I want to switch gears because I want to talk about you took all, at least from what I've heard already, it sounds like you took all the knowledge that you gained doing different things in the industry, and then you were able to bring it to your own project. And I'm going to
Pretty
slow
much.
down so
That's
I
a
can
good way
find
to
this.
put it. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did you get the inspiration to write your story, Solid Rock Trust?
Okay. Precursor, Solid Rock Trust. That's the movie that I just released. That's available
Yeah.
for everyone. That's why we're talking about it tonight. Can I tell them what it is real quick? So they have
Absolutely,
some
please do.
context. Okay, so this is
For
a
sure.
bank heist movie like you've never seen before. I know you've seen a lot of bank heist movies. So have I. I love them all.
Yeah.
But this one's different. So we got one actress in a room. That room is not in a bank. She has a whole bunch of cell phones. She has a whole bunch of accents. She has a whole bunch of languages. She's orchestrating the bank heist from another place. And everything you expect to happen is still going to happen. Cops get called, double crossings, shootouts. I mean, take your pick. Lots of
Yep.
surprises, lots of twists and turns, except we never leave the room. So we're with her the whole time, watching her give this performance, and hopefully you can tell me about what you thought about it in a minute. But
Dude, I mean, obviously you're the guy that wrote, directed, and everything, and you perfectly described it. But I almost feel like that's underselling it because
okay,
there's so much drama and tension. And Coco Marshall, I mean, is incredible. She just the way she can go. I watched it. I came out. I was telling my wife, I was like, "You gotta watch this." Like the way she can switch between these different accents because my wife's a pretty good impressionist, and she can
cool.
like. We watched this reality show called Love Island. She does all the different British voices, and she does it really, really good. But watching Coco Marshall switch between a French and Australian and English on like the flip of a dime was so damn good. She's so impressive in it, and the tension and the way it's shot, the movie really moves. Yeah, it's exciting. I was really blown away, man. So,
Oh, thank you so much.
yeah, you killed it. So, where did this idea come from?
Very selfish reasons. I was in college and I had an apartment that I lived in, and I needed to write a short that took place in one room.
Okay, okay.
I was like, "What
Did
can
you
I?"
have to film it
No,
yourself
I
too?
didn't end up. I didn't end up shooting that one. We ended up doing something else. But I had the problem with a short is it needs to be like 7 or 8 minutes, and I can never get this down to under like 25 pages,
Yeah, yeah.
which is too long. If you want to have twists and turns and surprises, you gotta like have time to set that up. So that's what I can never crack.
Right. It's like when people tell me not to put out a 2-hour episode, and I'm like, I want to make it an hour, but I have too much shit to say.
Too
So,
bad. You know what?
yeah,
This is gonna be a 2-hour episode.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna make it 3 hours now.
Tough. If you don't like it, too bad.
Yeah.
So I was editing these low budget features on the side because I wanted to have editing credits that were all, in the same range of budget. And eventually I was like, dude, I kind of have a script that we could do that would be,
Yeah.
relatively cheap. It was written to be cheap, but it has potential. It's kind of a high concept thing. What do you think? So I pitched it to them. They're the same people who helped me produce it, and they said, "This is a great idea. Let's go for it."
Flashbulb Films.
Flashbulb Films
Flashbulb.
is mine. So the other one was
Okay.
San Bernardino Theatrical Arts Foundation, I think is what they're called.
Nice.
So they're like in San Bernardino, a live theater company, and they do a show like every 2 weeks, big ones, like thousands of
Wow.
people go. And they said, "We have all these actors. Why aren't we making a movie once a year? Why not?"
Nice.
So they started to. I'm their editor, and that's going great. And I pitched this story to them, and they helped me out make it. Look, I know it's a tough sell to have one person in a room on a computer on a phone for 90 minutes. So I was just constantly trying to throw stuff in there that would make this more interesting. I love watching people do different accents. When you watch Andrew Garfield speaking English for the first time, and you're like, "Wait,
Yeah.
hold on, I thought you were what?"
Yeah, yeah. He did that one where they were like these Christian evangelists that do a TV show, and he has that like Southern twang in it too. I mean, he's amazing at
It's
it.
so wild to see somebody change. So I thought, man, what if we just had somebody changing accents right in front of us? That's kind of
Right.
interesting. They have all these phones. Okay, they're going to be a different person for each time they pick up the phone towards somebody else, and we're going to explore why that is, in the story. But
Yeah, I
and then
can't
just
undersell how impressive of a job she does, man.
she's amazing.
It
I know.
was
And in
incredible.
fact, let me tell you real quick. We casted her long before we ever called her because of the pandemic. And when I finally did talk to her and she came out, she brought more accents than I had in the script.
Wow.
So I had doubled up some of them because I was like, not going to find
Mhm.
anybody who could do this many.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she
Or
was
at
like,
least
"Hey,
not
I
do
do
it
it. I
convincingly.
do a New York accent. Could I change this character to be? Yeah, please, let's
Right.
do it." And she probably has more. She speaks like 4 languages, and
Yeah.
she just loves linguistics.
Okay.
So
Thank you so much for touching on that because when she starts speaking Spanish, it's like so good. Like it sounds like Spanish from Spain to me. I
yeah,
mean, I'm a
yeah,
layman. I have no
yeah,
idea, but it sounds so good. And I'm like, not only could you do all these different accents, but speak really good Spanish
and
as well.
French, and
And,
French.
and French. I mean, yeah,
It's
she's
crazy.
impressive, man. Definitely. So what
So
was, yeah,
yeah,
no, sorry, continue.
so we were just trying to throw as much stuff as you could, and I wanted to make sure I hit all the bank heist, tropes, but try
Hmm.
to flip them on their head to do in a different way than you've seen before, right? So hopefully you get really invested in the characters, even though you've never seen them. And you're really invested when they're in danger because you've seen a bank heist movie before. You know what's happening in the bank, and now you're just going to
Yeah.
listen, and hopefully you're connected enough that it matters to you, you know?
Absolutely. When I was watching that, to that point, it was almost like a book, right? Like you're
Mm-hmm.
hearing things about these characters and then you're creating this image in your mind.
Right.
So it was really cool. I agree. Like it was just coming across to me. I could envision it.
Sweet.
I
That's
had a
perfect.
picture in my
That's
head for
exactly
these
what I wanted.
characters.
Because it's two layers, right? Like you're watching her give the performance, but it's also you're like putting the rest of it together in your mind.
Right, because you're trying to piece like how do all these characters fit in this story? How are they interacting, and do they know each other, and what do they know? And just I'm like trying so hard not to spoil things as well
Yeah.
because I want people to watch it.
Sweet.
But I loved it, man. I thought it was really intriguing and it was captivating the whole time. I was really impressed with that. And yeah, to me, I feel like it was like that book. That book, you're just like a page turner, and you're like, wait, okay, and your mind's creating these faces and situations and places. So yes, I think you do a fantastic job of creating. I want to. Sorry, I'm getting way too excited. What was it like to then turn this into your own movie and then step into the director's seat?
Yeah, so it's totally surreal. I worked on the script for a long time. Actually started working on scripts in an effort to become a better editor, right? So I was always sort of
Okay.
interested in screenplays, but once I started editing, I was like trying to figure out why scenes are happening in this order, or why are they this length, or what are we learning about a character over these 3 minutes, and
Mhm.
what better way than to start reading scripts and start writing them yourself, so you see why the writer put it the way that it
Right.
is.
Yeah, you start seeing the beats.
And since I wrote this movie, I've written like 4 or 5 more, and it kind of gets easier as you go.
All right.
But dude, this one took me years.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to figure out how to do it the first 1 or 2 times. So I spent a lot of time thinking about this movie, thinking about, are we going to make this, thinking about how I want scenes to play out. Probably more time than most people do when they walk into a movie. But when I finally was standing there and saw it on the monitor, and she's sitting at the desk and she's doing these words, and we're doing playback, so you hear all the phone calls in the room.
Yep.
It was crazy. Oh, wow. It's like exactly what I imagined right in front of me.
Yeah.
Totally surreal.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, and just,
though.
super humble and lucky that you got to see it like right in front of you. It's pretty amazing.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, it's beautiful when you have something in your mind and you're like, I'll just keep chipping away at it. I'll make it something, and to see the level that you're at, and now it's an actual movie that you can watch. Where can people watch it?
Oh, so you can watch this on Tubi for free. That's in a lot of
Alright.
places in the world. Anywhere that there's Tubi. They just had a Super
Alright.
Bowl commercial, so I know there's people out there who
Yeah,
like Tubi.
definitely. The last person we had on as well, this guy Ty from another podcast, he's worked on movies as well. He's all about that Tubi life. He
Yeah.
dropped Tubi in his conversation like 20 times. I'm not kidding. So
It's pretty cool. And their commercial was like a rabbit throwing people down holes,
Oh,
rabbit hole.
yeah,
And
yeah,
if you've
yeah.
ever been on Tubi, you know that's what it feels like. Whoa, I've never heard of any of these. I mean, they have big movies too, but
Yeah.
there's definitely stuff there that is wild and creative and unique, but also it's free. I mean, you get to watch some commercials and stuff, but not as many commercials as you would think that you see like on Hulu and stuff.
Right. That's awesome.
And then and there's no credit card or anything to sign up. You just go. It's like YouTube. This is
Okay.
crazy.
Yeah. I'm sold.
Anyways,
Yeah.
you can also rent my movie on Amazon right now, and Google Play and YouTube Movies. And in June, if you're listening to this after June 2023, it's on YouTube for free too. So if you search Solid Rock Trust, you will find it somewhere. We've got Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff, so you could find us.
Right on. All right. Well, last question for me. What can you talk about anything you're currently working on?
Yeah, I can't talk about Marvel stuff, but I could talk about other stuff that I'm working on.
All right. I get. No, that sounds great. Whatever you can. man.
Guardians of the Galaxy comes out in 2 months. Check that
Yeah.
one out. There's a new trailer for you.
Dude,
it's gonna
that
be
trailer
great.
was awesome.
I just finished editing a documentary about one of the first American skateboarders to go to the Olympics.
Oh, wow. That's
His
amazing.
name was Jake Alardi. It's
Yeah.
super interesting, like sports documentary. It's sort of a cross between a skate video and a sports doc, actually, and on purpose. We tried to make it feel like that, so it's kind of flips
Very
back
cool.
and forth. I'm super excited for that one to come out. I think it's so good and inspiring and really like family friendly. That's like a PG movie.
Right on.
Small town kid makes good, goes all the way to the Olympics, and it's really great.
Dude, you gotta let us know. We're gonna definitely be talking about that movie when it comes out.
Okay, good, and good. It's gonna be fun once that one comes out. What else? I mean, like I said, I've worked on a bunch of scripts, and if I get a break again, we shot Solid Rock Trust in 11 days. So I mean, it took a lot of prep, but it was really only 2 to 3 weeks break that I
Wow.
needed to be there for, and then I'm not on a time frame, so I could edit it at my own pace.
Yeah.
So if I get another break like that, hopefully we can make another one of these. I've got different scripts at different budget ranges, and depending on who comes along and is interested, hopefully we can make one of those here in the next year or two again. But
That's exciting, man. Well, again, I'm not BSing. I really enjoyed it. I think you're probably just getting started on the directing and screenwriting and all that stuff. But man, before we go, anywhere else people can find you, follow you, support you? Yeah, social media, all that.
oh, thanks. I'm gonna send you our link tree. You can put in the show notes. People
Okay.
can just go click on that. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and you can find wherever our movie happens to be at the time you click on it. So that would be great. And if someone goes out and watches it, oh, please leave me a nice review somewhere on IMDb or Rotten
Heck yeah.
Tomatoes. And you can hit us up on Facebook, and I'll probably answer you.
There you go. Right on. Well, yeah, I know what I'm doing right after this. So, hey, Rick, really appreciate it. Thanks
Next
so
time I want
much,
to come
man.
back on with all the guys because you guys are hilarious. And
Oh, I know.
I want
These
I want
guys
to meet everyone
freaking, they
else.
got jobs, losers. Uh, yeah, but no, 100%. You're gonna come back on. Hey, shoot, if there's a show that you watch, you want to just guest host with us for a night, we could do that too, man.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that because I love the banter. I want to come back and hear you guys' thoughts on some different stuff.
There you go. We'll 100% do it. But Rick, thank you so much for joining us. Definitely go check out his stuff. Go support him. Watch the movie. It is, like I said, very captivating. It's probably different than you're even imagining now, and you have to see it to believe it. So, Rick, all right, aloha, man. And before you leave, if you wouldn't mind, I asked all our guests to say this. Would you say thanks for sticking it with us?
Oh yeah, of course. Mahalo for sticking it with us.
Yeah, there you go.
The Joystick Show.
If you've enjoyed what you've been listening to, we'd really appreciate a follow, subscribe, and a review. Just how we like chatting with our friends, please share this with yours. Feel free to join the squad and follow us at JoyStickShow Joystick Show on Twitter and Instagram, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you feel like submitting topics or questions to be discussed on future episodes, you can email us at joystick.show@gmail.com. As always, thank you, peace out, and make it a great rest of your week.